Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Eric Marquette, and I'm here with Paul Netopski. Paul, I was looking through some recent industry data, and I stumbled on a number from the May 2026 eLease Ian Technology snapshot that completely blew my mind. If we keep going at our current pace of assessments, it is going to take 97.5 years to get the remaining defense contractors certified. 97 and a half years.
97.5. Think about that, Eric. That means we would wrap up these certifications somewhere around the year 2123. The Department of Defense wants this fully implemented by 2028, and we're looking at a timeline that stretches into the next century because we are currently certifying only about 100 companies a month.
It is wild when you look at the actual scale of the remaining backlog. The data shows there are 116,851 Level 2 organizations still waiting for their certifications, out of an original pool of over 118,000.
Exactly. The exact number is 116,851. And here's the paradox, the demand illusion. Contractors think there's no rush because they see the 2028 phased rollout as some kind of hall pass to delay. But they're ignoring the reality of the math. We're seeing fewer than 200 active assessments per month right now because companies are caught in this loop of false starts where they prep, realize they aren't ready, and push the audit back.
Right. Like those false starts are completely invisible in the official numbers. The snapshot mentioned that unless we're averaging 9 false starts per C3PAO per month, there's basically no real active demand pulling on the system right now. But once that 2028 deadline hits, everyone's going to rush the door at once.
And that is when the entire defense supply chain grinds to a screeching halt. If you are a subcontractor on a major weapon system or a critical logistics program, and you don't have that Level 2 certification, you will not be allowed to handle controlled, unclassified information. Period. The contract stops. It's a self-inflicted bottleneck, and it drives me absolutely crazy to watch companies treat this like a college term paper they can pull an all-nighter to finish.
Well, let's talk about the people who actually have to do these audits. Because even if all 116,000 companies suddenly lined up tomorrow, we have a massive staffing problem. C3PAOs seem to be completely obsessed with hiring only top-tier lead-certified CMMC assessors, or LCCAs. Why is that?
It's a unicorn hunt, Eric. The C3PAOs want lead CCAs because they are the only ones authorized to actually lead the assessment teams and sign off on the final package. So you have a tiny, highly expensive pool of elite talent while the rest of the workforce is left out in the cold. In May 2026, we only had 562 LCCAs in the entire ecosystem.
562 LCCAs to cover over 116,000 companies. That is an absurd ratio. Meanwhile, we have 1,750 certified CMMC professionals, or CCPs, and 988 regular CCAs. Why aren't they out in the field doing the heavy lifting?
Because they're stuck in an experience desert. To get certified as a lead, or even just to maintain your credentials, you need actual on-site assessment hours. But because the assessment volume is so low right now, C3PAOs can't afford to put junior CCPs or CCAs on a billable engagement. If you only have one assessment per C3PAO per month, you can't justify deploying a multi-tier team.
So the junior assessors can't get the hours they need to advance, which means we can't grow the pool of lead assessors. It's a classic chicken and egg workforce development failure.
It is a complete failure of the apprenticeship model. If we aren't structured to train the next generation of cyber defenders in the field, we are bottlenecking our own security posture before the audits even begin.
And it's not just a lack of field hours that's holding people back. The professional and financial hurdles to stay in this ecosystem are incredibly steep. We recently saw a major administrative shift with the CMMC Assessor and Instructor Certification Organization, or CICO, handing over responsibilities to ISACA. What's the strategic impact of that move?
Well, bringing in ISACA is an attempt to standardize professional credentials on a global scale. They have the infrastructure. But the transition itself has taken a real toll on the individual practitioners. Even with ISACA revising the pricing, The cost of just keeping your credentials active is a major barrier.
Right. The 3-year cost for a CCP or CCA went down from $3,175 to $2,280. But that's still over $2,000 out of pocket for an individual, on top of exams, training courses, and annual maintenance fees.
Exactly. $2,280 is a lot of money for a credential that you might not even be actively billable on yet because of the lack of assessment volume. It's pushing independent assessors out of the market entirely. And then you have the instructor side of the house.
Yes, the training pipeline. The provisional instructor program is officially sunsetting in December 2026, right?
Yes, December 2026. All 124 provisional instructors have to transition to the CMMC credentialed instructor, or CCI pathway. But only 37 qualify for the fast track, while 87 have to go through the full application process. And the operational bar for these trainers to maintain their status under ISACA is incredibly high. If we lose our trainers, we lose any hope of scaling the assessor workforce to meet that 40 times increase we need.
This whole situation feels like history repeating itself. We've seen similar rollouts in other frameworks, like the early days of FedRAMP with their third-party assessment organizations, or the qualified security assessor shortages in the PCI DSS market.
It is the exact same playbook, Eric. In the early days of PCI and FedRAMP, everyone waited until the last minute. The demand spiked overnight, the assessor pools were tiny, and backlogs skyrocketed. The only way to break this loop now is for C3PAOs to adopt a grow-your-own assessor strategy.
Meaning, instead of poaching those expensive lead CCAs from each other, they need to actively pair junior CCPs with veterans on these early, slower-paced assessments.
Precisely. Treat these current assessments as training grounds. Build the capacity now so you have the team ready when the floodgates open. Because let me be blunt with the defense industrial base. The assessor pool cannot scale 40-fold overnight. If you sit on your hands and wait until the 2028 deadline to schedule your Level 2 audit, you are going to find yourself locked out of DoD contracts, holding a very expensive, very late ticket to a game that's already started.
A powerful warning to end on. Paul, thanks for the masterclass. And to everyone listening, don't wait for the bottleneck to pinch before you take action. We'll see you next time.
Stay secure, everyone.